Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about Ireland, a weird, dark, and unnecessarily painful history. Ireland never had a normal day. Ireland is often described as a land of rolling green hills, ancient castles, and friendly people who love music and storytelling. This description is not wrong. It is simply incomplete. Ireland is also a land shaped by invasion, starvation, religious control, forced migration, and a remarkable ability to survive events that would have erased most nations entirely. Irish history is not neat. It does not progress in straight lines. It repeats itself. Again and again, Ireland reaches a moment of hope, and then something catastrophic happens shortly afterwards, often involving England, sometimes involving the Irish themselves. This video is not about national pride or heroic mythology. It is about the strange, uncomfortable, and often absurd realities of Irish history. Because if you remove the dark humor, you are left with a story that is simply too bleak to tell honestly. Irish humor did not appear by accident. It evolved as a coping mechanism. And by the end of this video, that should make perfect sense. Ancient Ireland. Poetry, cattle, and casual violence. Before Ireland was conquered, colonized, or renamed, it was a collection of small kingdoms ruled by local kings. These kings were not absolute rulers. They were symbolic figures believed to be spiritually bound to the land itself. If crops failed, livestock died, or weather turned harsh, the conclusion was simple. The king had failed his spiritual duty, and failed kings could be removed, sometimes violently. Ancient Irish society was built around honor, reputation, and ritual. Warriors sought fame, poets held power, and druids controlled religion, law, and education. Druids were not gentle philosophers. They were judges, advisors, and ritual leaders. They believed in prophecy, they believed in sacrifice, and they believed the human head was the seat of the soul. So Irish warriors collected enemy heads as trophies. This was not symbolic. This was literal. Justice was handled through the Brehon laws, which were surprisingly complex. There were no prisons. Crimes were punished with compensation. If you committed murder, you paid a fine. The fine depended on the victim's status. So technically, some people were worth more than others. Cows were the main currency, which meant justice depended on how many cows you owned. It was a functioning system, strange but functional. And notably, women had legal rights far ahead of their time. They could own property, they could divorce, they could inherit wealth. Ireland was progressive, briefly. St. Patrick and the Christian takeover. Christianity arrived in Ireland without conquest or mass slaughter. This alone makes Ireland unusual. St. Patrick was not Irish. He was likely Welsh. He did not chase snakes out of Ireland. There were no snakes. What he did was introduce Christianity slowly, without destroying existing belief systems. Instead of eliminating pagan traditions, Christianity absorbed them. Sacred wells became holy wells. Pagan festivals became Christian holidays. Old gods became saints with suspiciously familiar attributes. This fusion allowed Christianity to spread without rebellion. Monasteries flourished. Learning expanded. Irish monks preserved texts while Europe collapsed into chaos. For a time, Ireland became a center of scholarship. This era is often romanticized, but monasteries also held gold, silver, and manuscripts, which made them targets, and Ireland had very little defense. Vikings, raiders, slavers, and city founders. The Vikings arrived in Ireland in the late 8th century. They did not come to explore, they came to steal. Monasteries were ideal targets. Isolated, wealthy, undefended monks were killed or enslaved. Manuscripts were taken or destroyed. Slavery was common. Irish captives were sold across Europe. But Vikings did not just raid, they settled. They founded towns, including Dublin, Waterford, and Limerick. Dublin began as a Viking slave market. Eventually, Vikings integrated with Irish society. They married locals. They adopted customs. They became Norse Gaels. Ireland survived the Vikings, but it was weakened. And then came the Normans. The Normans, Ireland's worst invitation. In the 12th century, an Irish king sought military help. Instead of solving the problem locally, he invited Norman knights from England. This was Ireland's greatest historical misjudgment. The Normans were efficient, well-armed, and ambitious. They conquered territory quickly. They built castles. They claimed land. Then they stayed. Over time, many Normans adopted Irish culture. They became more Irish than the Irish themselves. England viewed this as a problem. Ireland was supposed to be controlled, so England stepped in directly. English rule, erasing a country. The Tudor conquest transformed Ireland. Land was confiscated. Plantations replaced Irish landowners with English settlers. Irish culture was criminalized. The Irish language was banned. Traditional laws were abolished. Catholics were marginalized. Then came the penal laws. Catholics could not own land, vote, hold office, receive education. These laws were designed to dismantle Irish society slowly. Oppression became bureaucratic, and it worked. The Great Famine, starvation with paperwork. The potato failed in the 1840s. Ireland depended on it, but Ireland was not short of food. Grain, cattle, and dairy were exported under armed guard. People starved beside fields they were forbidden to harvest. Evictions continued. Workhouses filled. Disease spread. Over 1 million died. Another million emigrated. The population collapsed. This was not inevitable. It was policy. Ireland never recovered. Revolution and Civil War. The 1916 Rising failed, but British executions radicalized public opinion. War followed. Guerrilla tactics, reprisals, collective punishment. Ireland gained independence, then immediately fractured. The Civil War pitted former allies against each other. Executions continued. Trauma was buried. Modern Ireland, memory and survival. The church dominated Irish life for decades. Abuse was concealed. Institutions controlled behavior. Magdalene laundries operated into modern times. Ireland modernized late, but it survived. Ireland jokes about its past because silence would be worse, because humor is how trauma stays manageable. Ireland endured invasion, famine, colonization, and control. Not because it was fortunate, but because it refused to disappear. Like and share for more videos like this.